to Sandy Widener's mayoral campaign when he came in and said, "Oh, ho, ho, you can't release those emails." Hell, they were released to George and I, and emails were they were nothing emails, but they were released. But then we had to take the executive committee took her and sanctioned her during her mayoral campaign.
Right.
I mean, is it dirty politics? Hell, yes, it's dirty politics. The fact is that she's still fighting that case. Why? Because the town basically is
That's
dirty.
a real good.
You sure that thing's running?
Yeah, it's running.
Hi. We're talking Racine. We're going to sit and have a conversation. Why don't you guys come along for the ride? George here is my co-pilot.
Howdy.
Jim owns the plane.
Yeah.
I'm Doc, the guy sitting by the bulkhead making wise remarks. And just a little quick update on the COVID statistics for Racine and Kenosha. You know, I gave up on it, but I still kind of track it once in a while. So I went and checked right before the show. Now, Kenosha was up to 70 COVID-related deaths. Racine had 81 the last time I looked. And Kenosha was kind of a weird story. They had gone up to 70, then they went down to 69, then they went back up to 70, but they're doing pretty good because they're back at 65 now. So, Racine,
Congratulations, Kenosha. Despite all the troubles down there, your COVID deaths are coming down.
poor Racine, we had 81, now we got 90. So, I mean,
Whoa.
you can figure out your own opinion on the statistics that are being kept on this problem. Now, the first serious conversation we're going to have is, does it really make a difference? All of this stuff that's going on, I mean, we talked a little bit about all of the national political scene, the COVID, the presidential election, yada, yada, yada. Is it really going to make a difference down here at the street level in Racine? And we pretty much came to the conclusion that
I don't think so.
it doesn't matter, right?
No, it's going to be up to us to change Racine. We're not going to get it changed by president or governor or anything like that. I mean, the people that are sitting there in that city hall making us wear masks and all this stuff, that's not going to change until that gets changed.
It's our job, folks.
Yeah.
And speaking of wearing masks, I mean, we've got this case that came back from the Court of Appeals. The guy, Yandel, who has a health club, is that what he calls it?
Yeah, fitness club. Yeah.
Fitness club. He filed a protest. He filed a complaint, and in the court, the local court here said, you can't do that to this guy. You're running him out of business. You know, it's you got to have proof, and you blah blah blah. So basically, Judge Frederickson said, no, you know, you got to cut this loose. This law is so vague and so far-reaching that it's virtually unenforceable.
He says it's unconstitutional too.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Oh, well, that too, but
No.
we still have a constitution?
somewhere.
Yeah, who's guarding it?
yeah. No, I've heard of it.
Yep, that's about it,
Yeah,
right?
I heard it. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
something about a constitution.
So anyway, how did this get stayed? The Judge Frederickson's decision was stayed by the
Right.
appeals court.
Right.
Do you know the mechanism of how that happened? Would you like to share that with our
Well,
viewers?
the word is that Rebecca Mason ran it up to the appeals court, got it signed, and then ran it back.
That was a mechanization. It was an automobile.
Yeah. But the fact is, I mean,
Done
I guess
by-
when you
done by God.
get into this appeal, I guess there's some verbiage in there that I think is important to, you know, without a test of constitutionality, it's going to hold true. So, you know, there's a lot of I guess I'm going to go back to say, why are people ticked off? Because situations like this happen. And, you know, I wanted to kind of get into the whole system in Racine. Why are people mad? Why do people riot? Why do they create looting? You know, granted, it doesn't fix a problem, but it is an offshoot of why people are mad. And there's a lot of reasons why people get angry. You know, I mean, and I think part of it is we're a good indication of some of the things that people, I think, are just plain ticked off about.
I think Racine is a good case study for the nation.
Case. Absolutely,
Yeah.
it is. And so I kind of want to run through a few of them today. Our court
I see.
system.
Our court system. Yeah.
Let's just look at our court system.
When's the last time you went to court and felt you got justice?
Yeah.
Well, our viewers probably never go to court.
Well, even if they don't, I mean, I think part of it is that you have a system that is almost like a meat grinder. You go in the morning, they meat grind you, and they shoot you out at the evening. Was there really justice?
Yeah.
That's questionable. I've been in a lot of court cases where I just saw just plain where the judges overlooked the law and just moved right along with it. We've been involved in it, but that's the kind of thing that does it affect? Are we going to go out and loot? No, but the fact is, there's still an anger there that says, hey, this is wrong.
Well, it happens to so many people that
Right.
I think collectively this anger builds up, and then some dramatic event happens, and I know what direction we're going in. We're going into the direction of Kenosha. An event like that happens, and people have got this inherent anger accumulated,
Right.
and man, things just explode. But it's not going to. The system is so entrenched and is so powerful and so resistant to change that even if you burn down buildings and burn cars and all kind of other stuff, it's not going to move it.
Well, it
It's
probably
not gonna
almost
move the
hurts
system.
it to a certain degree. I mean, we file lawsuits and different, organizations do. The appeals court. Here's a perfect example of literally it should have been this. It shouldn't have been stayed, or at least listened to the other side. That never happened.
Right.
But if you file on a lawyer regulation complaint, nothing happens. I mean, there's no follow up on it. Your local courts, they just they know that they almost can get away with anything they want. There's no system. I mean, that's why we're kind of high on Frederickson, because he actually adheres to the law. And that's been something that has really been lacking in Racine, and especially when you're talking about the highest incarceration rate of African American males. I mean, now granted, should there be? That's questionable. But the fact is every one of those situations correctly judged? I mean, do they really have adequate legal representation when a person goes to court? I mean, are they really held to that? No, I think it really is. Racine is a meat grinder. It really is a legal meat grinder, and there's a lot of money made off of that.
Well, and the fact remains too. I mean, if we all examine ourselves in our lives and we look upon some of the people who have had brushes with the system, and we realize that, sometimes, the cops stop you and you don't even get a ticket. You get a little talking to maybe. But there seems to be very few of that happening if you happen to be a little bit dark-skinned. Then it's like, well, you're going to get a ticket.
But here's the other thing. I just want to kind of bring this up. When you talk about, let's just take our situation. You've got a district attorney, Trish Hansen, Republican. You've got a majority in the past probably 30 years, 40 years maybe, of a democratically controlled city. How do they blend here? How does this constantly, they work together, Republicans, Democrats work together, and nothing changes? Do bad cops really get taken off the force? No. Do, you file with the Department of Justice? That's a joke. The FBI? That's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have a recourse. And when you don't have a recourse, what is your recourse?
Unfortunately for some people, it becomes violence.
Exactly.
I'm
going
to burn the damn thing down.
Right. And I think that's exactly, so you want to look for some kind of base of why people are doing things. Granted, it's ignorance that, you'll burn bus cars up and stuff. That's just plain ignorant. But the fact is, they're pushed by, in Kenosha's case, the shooting. Racine had some shootings, too, that were, some of them were very questionable. But no leaders come out and discuss it. Nobody says, hey, we should really investigate why are we having this type of behavior and not addressed.
Well, did either of you guys take that survey that was put out by the what is it, a police review board or whatever? What did they call it?
Yeah,
a police examination
I
commission?
saw it. I didn't take it.
You didn't take it? Did you?
No, I don't think I saw it.
I filled it out, and I don't know how many other people have. I haven't seen any statistics on it, but
But Doc, that's my point.
well,
That's,
I'm saying, is that going to result in anything?
No.
I'm not encouraged, but at least I made the effort of going and.
Well, you did, yeah, and you're hoping that something does maybe change, or there's at least some discussion on it. But I just don't see it. I don't. We talk about the leadership. We're going to change. Nothing changes. So you think that a presidential election is going to change anything in Racine? It's laughable.
Unlikely. Yeah.
No. Laughable.
Okay, that's it.
Well, I just want to go in a little bit more. No, I just want to. When you're talking cover-ups, there's cover-ups, multiple cover-ups in the city of Racine. It just continues on.
Are we going to talk about Machinery Row again?
Well, we could throw it in there. Why
Yeah,
not?
well, it's definitely a cover-up.
Yeah.
It's I mean, if it hadn't been for the efforts that we and several other people have made, nobody would be thinking about Machinery Row at all. You know what? Another thing is the damned arena that didn't go through. That is proof that citizen action can be effective.
Yes.
That was like a $65 million savings that was realized there. I don't know how many of you remember the big hockey arena that was going to go in down by the lakefront, and enough wise citizens said, I don't think that's a good idea. Oshkosh ended up with it, and what happened? Bankrupt.
Yeah, and Dennis Monte was one person.
He's a hero.
Yeah, in Racine.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with government. He just didn't like it, and he made up that little sign and got a lot of people interested.
Educated people.
And spearheaded it out so that it became where Corey Mason, who took over from Dickert, and that was Dickert's baby, was this arena, and Corey Mason was supposed to take that torch right on through to finish, and he had to back off because the opposition was so strong. So yes, we still have some say in this country. We're not to the Soviet Union or mainland China stage yet, but the thing is that but that's what it's going to take in here, and it's not going to be done by electing a new congressman or a new president or anything up. Even the state, I don't know if the governor even has anything to do with it. I don't think that it's going to be us right here in Racine deciding. We have to get people in that position in City Hall to make some changes. And we've talked about what those changes need to be. And it's basically get the deregulation going on. Let's quit protecting certain people against competition. Let's open it up so everybody has the equal chance to succeed. You don't need to be well connected in order to get a business started. You can just go in there and fill out the forms, or maybe even eliminate the forms. Just be able to start up a business, and then you will see a grassroots movement.
Yeah.
Grow up in this town of all different types of people. It's just going to be the smartest ones. They're going to get the most done, and that we should have no problem with. And then the other people that are quite as smart can work for the smart ones, And we'll all get back to work, and we'll have a really good business. But you're not going. That's going to be a change from us. It's not going to come from the governor or the president or the congressman or anybody else.
So true.
I want to bring up a couple more, George. I mean, now that we've solved that.
Wait. We haven't solved a darn thing with that.
Well, we checked it off on the discussion list.
We've opened up the game.
Right.
Because
I agree.
It's one thing to say there's a game out there to be played. It's another thing to play it and win.
Yeah.
So all we said is this is where it is. That was a simple. That was a summarization of what needs to be done. But when you actually get out to do it, it gets a lot tougher than saying
the
it.
fact that
sure.
Dennis Monte started that and a bunch of citizens joined in and it got done.
Right.
That's indicative that it can happen. Now, there's plenty of other things where you run up against a wall and you're just beating your head against it endlessly.
They're much more complicated, but they can still be. Accomplished.
You can still do it. It's worth
How do you
doing.
beat the system, though? How do you beat this Democratic Party in Racine? You got the Republican Party in the county. I mean, how dang well they work together.
You got to get just rid of anybody that has anything to do with a political party. That would be nice, or anybody that's going to bring their party philosophy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a libertarian. I'm not about to bring the libertarian philosophy into the city government. If I was in there, that type of thing belongs elsewhere. Where people can look at it from like at the federal level or something like that. But when it gets down to the local level of city, it operates a lot more along the lines of what a business does.
The example, George, you got Car 25. It was voted on by the Common Council. It was put forward. What happened? Nothing.
Yeah.
The money's been allocated. No Car 25. We just decided that we're not going to do it.
That's our main promotional arena too. Our area, where if you had that thing going and show what's going on in the schools, what's going on in the government, what's going on in the playgrounds, and come on to Racine and have some fun with the rest of us. You can just grow with that.
I remember there was a certain amount of urgency involved in that $150,000 that was voted.
Yeah.
And I also
when the screen went black.
I remember it was pretty damn cold that night.
Yeah.
And we've had like all summer long and zip.
Yeah.
Nada.
Nobody
So
cared.
what I'm saying is, now here's your leadership. Now this is the thing. Now it was voted on. It was brought up. It was voted on. It was passed. The money was allocated. Nothing.
Nothing. Not almost. There's a little bit now. Henry Perez and Kerry Glenn. Henry Perez got it onto the queue. that means it's in
Okay,
line.
got on the queue.
It's in line to
Shouldn't
be
even be put
discussed now.
on the queue to be discussed on something that was passed. What I'm trying to get at is, this is your local leadership.
Right.
This is how they're dictating and ruling. So when
That's
you
right.
move into masks and shutting down businesses and creating a...
Well, that just helps things along.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm the king.
They rule by resistance. Anybody that's got a good idea is just kind of ignored, pushed
Right.
off to the
So
side.
legal
Now,
chaos.
you, I know, went down and applied to be a producer
That's right.
on Car 25.
Right.
What have you heard back from them?
Nothing. Nothing. There's
Nothing.
not even. There's nothing to. No place to put it. You know.
They haven't
There's
called
no,
you up?
there's no
They
car
haven't sent you
25.
out any
Yeah.
kind of a
There's
notice
no
for 'em?
channel any. The channel's black. I guess you go there. It's black.
Okay, well, here's the other thing. When illegal payouts, tax dollars are paid out. That's confidential. We can't tell you what those payouts are. We pay out on suits that we have to get rid of people that may know something. I mean, it's just like blackmail money that gets paid out from the city, and that's exactly what it is. You know, when we get into
Well, no, it's not blackmail money. It'd be closer to extortion if they didn't have a legitimate claim.
well,
But there's a lot of people who have legitimate
they
claims.
may have legitimate claim. There's someone I really question they don't. They may have something. All right, let's go. Let's go. A
Well,
little
but
deeper.
I know where you're going. Where you're going is the public is not
Cut
informed.
out.
Yeah, we're
They're cut out.
notified of what's going on.
Let's go back to Sandy Widener's mayoral campaign when he came in and said, "Oh, ho, you can't release those emails." Hell, they were released to George and I, and emails were they were nothing emails, but they were released. But then we had to take the executive committee took her and sanctioned her during her mayoral campaign.
Right.
I mean, is it dirty politics? Hell
Yes.
yes, it's dirty politics. The fact is that she's still fighting that case. Why? Because the town basically is
That's a
dirty.
real good barometer too of
Yeah.
how we're loosening up in there. Some lousy emails from a PowerPoint presentation that the whole darn council saw, okay, and yet nobody else is allowed to see it because it's very confidential
Right.
information. And
Well,
everything.
and they put it in a package. I mean, things that were wide open before. Now we put them in a package, and the package can't be viewed. So you don't even know what's in the
Yeah,
package.
well,
except
now
that
it goes to
you know
Kenosha.
that you know that it came from this larger group
Right.
of emails. You just don't know specifically what's in
Exactly.
that package, and that's secret.
So it goes to this appeals court that we just talked about, and so they get shot back after a year or so. They shoot a paragraph back. Gee, you should start over. I mean, it's bogus, bogus as hell. It goes back. Now it goes to a judge that says you got to keep that silent and quiet because the city attorney said that. It's almost like unbelievable. And then you want to know why buildings got burned? Then you want to know why people got looting? Now, I'm ticked off about it. I'm not going to go out and do anything. But think about my child or or someone is tossed into some kind of environment that, they feel really like, geez, I really handled correctly. Did I really get a fair a judgment call? And now all of a sudden it's like, hell, you know what? I'm going to go down with these folks and beat the hell out of a car.
Well, sometimes things do get changed a little bit, and,
Yeah,
and Michael Bell is a prime example of that. Michael Bell is the gentleman down in Kenosha
Right.
whose son was killed in the family driveway by the police, and that whole thing was like buried. Eventually, he recovered, I think, $2 million,
Yeah,
if I
pretty close,
remember
yeah.
right. It was a significant recovery. You can't pay for a child,
Right.
but he's used that money to affect the system.
And,
He's
when,
really,
when the government's screwing up, like you're talking about, when they're closing down, it is totally unfair to business people that you go over and burn their shops. They had nothing to do with it.
yeah.
I totally
Yeah.
agree, George,
No,
and I don't
yeah,
believe in any of that, and I think it was a stupid, truthfully, it's a stupid thing to do, period, because it
Well,
helps
it's a criminal
nobody.
thing to do.
Yes, and I'm not advocating, but I understand the mentality that says, I'm pissed, I'm gonna go bust something up. I get it. Now, if you're not real sharp, you're not
Well,
a little
Well,
ignorant,
should we
then
burn City Hall? Well, the National Guard's there. Maybe we go down the street and burn this building.
Right.
Well, but I also question whether it is really still a rationale for them to do that. Here's the thing. I mean, we've seen the same thing happen when a city wins an NBA title.
Yeah.
They go down and burn
Right.
stuff. What it does is it gives people that like to destroy things the opportunity to get out there and do their trade. Let's go smash some car windows, let's burn some stores down. It has nothing to do with the situation at hand. It's a totally suppressive thing where something happens over here, so we're going to get those people over there. That is irrational.
totally
I know
agree.
there's a pent-up thing, but you'll find out those people that were really wrong, they probably aren't going to do that. They're probably going to be out there and say, hey,
That's
I want to do
sometimes
something
true,
about the
yeah.
government. I'm not interested in that guy over there that's got a car lot.
Yeah,
I'm not
no,
interested
Well, I
in
think the
that.
Blake family is a prime example of that because they have come out and they've denounced the violence that took place.
Yeah,
After,
yeah, they
right.
want the real thing handled, you know. So the thing is the way to just get things handled. So what we've been talking about, we need to concentrate on our city hall. We can look at other examples to show what not to do, you know. But at the same time, we need to look at our city hall and then let's get our things straightened out. You know, our city was the biggest city virtually in all of Wisconsin at one time. There was nothing
Yeah.
that wasn't made here. We were certainly a lot bigger than Kenosha. And
It was
Green
bigger
Bay.
than Chicago back in the day.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Chicago
yeah.
was a stinkhole.
I mean, we were on Adolf Hitler's hit list.
Yeah, you made it.
I should have never
Get
told you
Racine.
that. You're using that as a point of
I know,
pride.
I
now.
love that. I'd like to find a verification of it. To me, it says, "Hey, man, you were a star." And you know what? We did it in this space here. So I don't want to hear everything about we're closed off or
Oh, yeah,
we got
this-
borders and
again,
stuff.
I mean-
Because all that, you know, on Hitler's.
But you know, George,
hit
you look at
was,
it again.
Was in this space. We weren't
got
bigger
his
then.
attention.
But here's the thing. Again, you create this victimhood of your city. We can't go anywhere because of this. We can't do this. And of course,
That's garbage when
and
somebody
here's the
says
thing:
that.
is your government is the one pushing. They're the problem, but
Yeah.
yet they're the ones that are saying, "Oh, this is bad for you," and you know we're going to
Yeah,
get you.
and
Vote
why
for
they're
me.
making it bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to make it bad, but you got to vote for me on top of it. It's all bogus.
Yeah.
You'll never get my foot off your neck if you don't vote for me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just such a terrible cycle.
Only
that
I
it's in.
can get my shoe off your neck.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
Pay me.
yeah. You have to get. I guess the bottom line is you have to get participate in your government. You really have to get to meetings. You have to understand who's representing you, why they're, and what some of the issues are that you may have that you needs to be
Yeah,
put
and
forward.
really, yeah, the key point is get to know your politicians. The problem is people, too many in Racine, don't go past a label of a party affiliation. And you've got to get past that. We've got to get to the point where we're looking at the individual. Party politics, partisan politics should have nothing to do with politics at this level. When you get up to the state and federal, okay, I'm going along with it.
You know,
but
one
but
thing
down
that-
at this level, no.
One
Get
thing
out
that I
of it.
believe would help would be to change the system of voting. In other words, like ranked choice voting, instant runoff voting. You're familiar with those concepts, right?
Yeah.
So you, if there are 3 or 4 or 5 people in the race, you choose them in the order that you prefer them,
Right.
and then it's decided amongst those 5, rather than getting it narrowed down to just 2.
I agree.
Where all you got is the lesser of
We
2
need
evils.
more.
It takes the partisan influence out of it.
Absolutely, and that's, I think that's
lot.
a good. We need to be another party, an independent, whatever it might be. But I like that idea.
Yeah.
We need more options. We need more options.
That'd be
no doubt
interesting to get
about it.
that. It's a little complicated to understand, but it is. You can have 5 people running, and you know, and in the way that you drop them out and recount and that type of
Right,
stuff.
and it takes
It's
all
very
that
interesting
out of
because
it,
you vote people in the ranking order. I like this guy first, this guy second, this gal third, this guy fourth, that type
Yep.
of thing.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting concept. It's very workable, but it takes a little.
Well, you
Thinking
gotta
and
think.
studying
You gotta
to
think.
figure it out
But
and
you know
see,
what?
oh, hey, that's cool. I
Look
like
what
that.
non-thinking
does.
I can vote whoever I want
It's
for.
not insurmountable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it
look
is-
at what
it can be
non-thinking
influenced.
does. Look at what we got.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's
And we
It's-
got one coming up.
What's that? Non-thinking?
Yeah, we got a non-thinking election coming up.
No, it's again, yeah, it really is. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what cracks me up is these people think, oh, gee, Trump's going to save it, and then Biden's going to save it. No, none of them's going to save it.
I mean,
it's a
those
show.
those two guys. I mean, of
It's a
all the
show.
people in the country,
That's what I. Yeah, it's like you got to be kidding me. But the
But
fact
that's
is,
what we
it's
gotta do.
all a show. It's all staged. It's all. I mean, they run to Kenosha because this is where the hot spot was. So they get enough cameras there. It's all a show.
remember Frank Zappa?
I do remember Frank Zappa.
Do you?
no, I don't.
Famous
know.
quote by Frank Zappa: "Politics is the entertainment branch of the military-industrial complex."
Pretty much. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, you go out and you vote and you expect some change. No, the
But
military-industrial complex still runs the
who they're
show.
working for? Yeah, the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
It pretty much is.
Yeah,
All right. You get off it.
Do we have anything else? we want to complain about this morning?
Well, we just wanted to hit some of the numbers on.
Oh, you wanted to talk about the COVID?
Yeah,
a little bit. We got to touch
yeah.
on COVID a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
Boy,
Our buddy
and what
COVID.
I demonstrated at the beginning, the statistics are so
Oh.
unreliable. And people are manipulating from both sides to say it's not a problem, it is a problem. And the rest of us are stuck in between wondering, well, I knew somebody that had it and it was horrible. I knew somebody that died. I knew somebody that got it and a couple days later they were fine. The statistics that are being put out there, I just would not put a lot of faith in them. And
Yeah, every reason I don't put in faith in it because they're mixed too much with politics and power and play and this type of stuff. We're
Well,
seeing
look at it.
right here at the local level
Each side
with
is
Corey
interpreting
Mason
it
and
the way
Dottie
they want.
Bowersox want to control businesses and what's going on. And when you start putting science together, well, his story is replete with that. I think it was a guy by the name of Galileo that was threatened with his life if he didn't get rid of that seventh planet or eighth planet, because it says God says there's only 7 planets. You can't say there's an eighth one. I mean, the point was when you start mixing science with politics, dogma, you got a mess. You got a real mess, and that's what we got right now. I think that's why I quit. I just said, I'm not worried about it anymore. I'm treating it like it was a flu. I came to a meeting one time with these guys before a show. This goes back a year or so with a mask.
Yeah, I remember that.
I came a mask. I didn't have these masks. I had the contractor's mask.
You never looked so good, George.
Yeah, because I didn't want to spread the flu around.
Show them the mask you got.
Well,
here.
my Star Wars mask. I don't know if I can pull it out here that fast.
This is
But
good. This
yeah,
is good. I mean, you don't look like a Wookiee, but paying homage to Star Wars. It's beautiful. I personally,
Star Wars.
I think I'm going into production of Christmas masks.
but the point
It's
is,
now a fashion statement.
the point is right now, don't need them. I'm totally convinced of that. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and we should just get out there and get back to work and get back to business regularly.
Well,
Fill up the ballparks. Let's fill up the football field. Let's get the kids back out there playing football, baseball,
Get kids
basketball,
back in
whatever they do.
school.
Let's
Get
just
kids
get them
back in
going.
school.
Yeah, get them in the classrooms.
It keeps
Well, I
coming
think
up.
most mothers are on your side.
Oh yeah, I think they are.
Well,
I'm
I'm just tired of it. And when this last statistic, Jim, you want to cover this one about the 6% with this last.
Yeah, these are CNC
the-
numbers.
the- CDC, the community. What is it? The Committee for CDC. Sounds
Center for Disease Control.
Center for Disease Control.
92 deaths were actually contributed to COVID.
9,200.
9,200.
And
Compared to 161,000.
this is their numbers.
Yeah, their number.
But explain what that means. They had no other ailments.
No other illness.
These were healthy people, and all of a sudden they got COVID and it took them out.
Right.
So,
But they all were of advanced age. They were older folks. So, I mean, it is.
Even the ones that got sick and
You
died
don't
were still in
care
their
about
80s.
us.
Yeah.
No. What the hell?
I don't
I'm right
care.
there.
we're old guys.
I'm an old guy, but I tell you what, I don't want businesses shut down for my sake. I would feel very bad if I found out that somebody was saying, well, we got to protect George Myers out there. I want all you guys just close down your businesses, everybody wear masks, because we got to keep him alive. That's BS.
Yeah.
I really do.
We agree.
that ain't gonna happen.
And if they say we don't give a darn, we're going to go to work if George Myers dies, that's tough luck. I would say,
Well, what?
go for it.
I think it
I'm
comes
for
in
that,
some
man.
part
It
of your
doesn't bother me
life.
a
I
bit.
think this protection.
But
and
you
be
would wear a
afraid.
mask when you're around.
If I was
yeah.
concerned about it, then I would. But that would be my problem. That would be my responsibility. If I'm concerned about it, and I'm afraid my little frail 79-year-old body is going to go kaput. Yes, okay. I'll put my little mask on, and I'll stay 6 feet away from everybody.
And wash your hands for crying out loud.
And I'll
Stop-
wash my hands.
stop
I'll
touching your
quit
nose.
touching my eyes and my
I don't know.
nose.
I mean, I just, I think, and I truly believe that a lot of people are finally saying, hey, you know what? We were supposed to have 2 million deaths in the United States, and they're seeing a death rate. We're not even going to get close to
Well,
that.
that was a statistical projection.
Yeah, well, it was way off. And I think
Well, it
people
was
just
used to
have-
scare people. That's why you got to go and hide. 2 million people? Oh my God!
Hey, it
Get
was-
a mask. Wear the mask.
it
I
was
need a
awfully
mask.
damn
2
scary
million
when it
people.
came
Well,
around.
if they come out and said it was going to be 6,000 people, I don't think people would have gotten their mask. It
Well,
was,
Probably not.
there's an awful lot of issues that have because of this that have to be straightened out, and hopefully that will work its way. We'll work through this, and we'll move to the next level, and we'll hopefully everybody gets back to work, and things get worked out, and everybody gets gets rationed.
We're going to do that, Jim. I think, even in Germany, my God, there was a demonstration there.
Millions
A
came
million
out.
people? Yeah.
More than 1 million.
It was 1 million people
Berlin,
went out to
yeah.
do it. Well, we haven't done that in this country because things aren't quite as oppressive here as they are in Germany. You'd be surprised how some of these European countries that we worship and think, oh, we should be like them. You haven't lived there and tried to work there.
Well, we've had millions turn up for anti-war demonstrations.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
And the
I'm-
wars go on anyway. So that would be-
I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that I think people are tired of it, and Americans have been light enough where we're not going to see a 1 million man march and that type of thing. We're going to see it just get rid of, and people get back to work and back to business. And look back on it and say that was awful stupid.
well,
That's what I think is going to
Yeah.
happen. Doc disagrees with me on that. Go ahead, Doc.
well, no,
You
I think people should just exercise caution and get back into your life. Start, like you say, start re-entering the economy. Get things rolling again.
I would say just do it. Don't worry about caution. Do it. Get to work. Have fun.
Here's a 79-year-old guy
Support
saying,
your
"Well,
family."
rep." I also agree. Just start getting back to work. Let's get back and get. We said this earlier, 3 months ago.
Yeah, just
know.
wash your hands, okay?
But anyway, I think we're there.
Yeah, I think we're there too. And you're here and we're leaving, so you might
Thanks
as
for
well
watching.
go about your
And
day.
putting up with my 79-year-old
Yeah.
tantrum.
Come back next week. Thank you.